Got a little bit
290, 300,
No
309.1.
you.
Well done.
Initially, he too thinks it's just another abandoned mining site. But then he spots an old trommel. And this is where the story takes a dangerous turn. This trommel is no ordinary machine. The layers of solidification inside its drum, stuck belts, and old gold marks on the metal clearly indicate that it was abandoned suddenly. The question is, why would anyone abandon a running trommel? Mining experts believe that when gold recovery becomes uncontrollable, operations often have to be abruptly halted. Old records and rough estimates suggest that approximately $350 million to $400 million worth of gold may still be trapped underground or inside the machines at this site. Hearing this figure, Parker himself falls silent. Now imagine if this gold was never recovered. What if this trommel shut down during the last run? Parker has only one thought in his mind. If this turns out to be true, it will be the biggest discovery of my life. Ground signals, old logs, and surrounding soil data point to the same thing. But the risk is equally high. Restarting the machine means a gamble worth millions, and one mistake ruins everything. This is where the suspense deepens. Will Parker restart this abandoned trommel? Is there really $400 million worth of gold hidden inside? Or is it just another shattered dream? The answer to this question will keep you hooked until the very end. And one thing is clear, those who don't subscribe now will miss the moment when the history of the gold rush could change. Because what lies ahead, perhaps no one has ever seen. When Parker gets close to the trommel, he realizes that nothing is normal here. From a distance, the machine appears old and abandoned. But up close, the picture changes completely. The trommel's drum is half-turned as if it had suddenly stopped while running. The belts are frozen in place and the soil and gravel cling to them as if processing had stopped mid-process. In Parker's experience, this isn't a machine that has been gradually shut down, but rather one that has been abandoned while still running. This is what is most disturbing. In the mining world, the rules are clear. If work needs to be stopped, the trommel is first emptied, the belts loosened, and the machine brought to a safe state. But nothing of the sort is visible here. The material inside the drum is compacted, layers solidified, and it seems as if the gold-mixed gravel never had a chance to escape. Parker's mind is filled with one question. Why would anyone abandon a running machine? Every minute counts in mining. No one suffers such losses without good reason. The yellow marks visible on the machine's metal parts are anything but ordinary. They aren't just rust or dust. Experienced miners know that when large quantities of gold are processed, such marks are left inside and around the machine. Parker observes these marks closely and realizes that there must have been a lot of activity here. For him, this trommel is no longer just a machine, but a story. Every frozen belt and every stuck bolt tell the same story. Something sudden and serious happened here. Following this, Parker and his team begin to investigate the area's mining history. The question is who was working here before and why everything suddenly stopped. Old maps, local records, and government filings are examined. Gradually, it's revealed that a small mining company had started operations here a few years ago. The company wasn't very well known, but initially their production was reported to be decent. Then suddenly, their name disappears from the records. There's no major announcement, no clear reason. Usually when a mining operation closes, there's a clear reason. Sometimes it says the gold ran out. Sometimes the cost increased or a legal problem arose. But here the records show only one word, suspended. Suspended means temporarily closed. But here, temporary has become permanent. This is what Parker finds most strange. If there was no gold, why didn't the company return? And if there were legal problems, leaving the machines in place is also incomprehensible. Putting together all these clues reveals a different picture. Perhaps the gold production here is much higher than expected. Perhaps the company didn't have the resources to handle such a large operation. Or perhaps there was a moment when the situation became so dangerous that the only option was to abandon everything and leave. Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. This trauma wasn't abandoned for nothing. It's evidence of an unfinished story. If this unfinished work is resumed, the consequences will be far from simple. This isn't just about recovering gold, but about a secret that has been buried underground for years. Parker understands that this place isn't just an old site. It's an opportunity, a threat, and perhaps a moment that could change the course of gold rush history. In the world of mining, a trommel isn't just a machine. It's the heart of the entire operation. Simply put, its job is to move soil, gravel, and stones around, separating them to allow the heavier, more precious gold to settle. When the trommel operates properly, seemingly worthless land suddenly becomes worth millions. But if the trommel itself isn't working properly, no matter how much gold is in the ground, it's all wasted. This is why the trommel is considered the most crucial machine at any mining site. A typical trommel typically operates with a fixed capacity. It can handle only a limited amount of soil and rock, but the trommel Parker saw wasn't typical. Its drum is larger, the iron is thicker, and its construction appears robust. Such trommel are typically installed in areas where gold is expected to be found in higher quantities than normal. This clearly indicates that this site must have been considered a special and risky area from the very beginning. The most unique feature of this trommel is its operation. While ordinary machines move material quickly, here layers appear to be deposited inside the drum. This occurs when heavy gold repeatedly settles in one place. This indicates that the trommel was sifting through heavy gold-rich soil, not light dust. This is why this machine could be a game changer, as it appears to be designed for heavy gold pieces, not small particles. When Parker examines the machine more closely, more important clues emerge. Light yellow marks appear on the trommel's iron. These are neither rust nor ordinary dirt. Experienced miners know that when a large amount of gold comes into contact with the machine, such marks are left. These marks are especially visible on the drum's edges and inner plates, indicating that a large amount of gold must have passed through it. The deposits inside the machine also appear unusual. Normally the soil loosens after work stops, but here the material is so tightly packed as if it never had a chance to be extracted. Experienced miners say that when gold is very heavy, it sticks to the soil, forming layers. Over time, these layers become stronger, just like the one seen inside this trommel. This could mean that precious material is still trapped inside the machine. Those who have been mining for years seem to agree on one thing. These are not ordinary remains. Such traces of gold and deposits are rare at typical mining sites. Such signs appear when a work has to be suddenly stopped. Either a major hazard has arisen or the gold has been found in such large quantities that the pressure on the machine has increased. Both situations are serious. Seeing all these signs, Parker understands that this trommel is not just an old machine. It bears witness to something that has happened here before. The machine can't speak, but its marks, deposits, and discolored iron speak volumes. If this trommel was indeed scooping up large quantities of gold, it clearly means this place could still hold much more. And this is where the story becomes even more dangerous and exciting. As Parker spends some time at the site, his experience slowly begins to speak. This isn't something he's read in a book, but rather a feeling cultivated through years of hard work. He's seen hundreds of mining sites, opened numerous machines, and countless times discerned the difference between right and wrong. Standing in front of this trommel, he senses deep within that this is no ordinary matter. The condition of the machine, the surrounding silence, and the unfinished work all hint at something significant missing. Parker has stood at crossroads before where a single decision could change his entire destiny. He's taken risks many times when others backed off. Sometimes it was the decision to replace the machine. Sometimes it was a bet on new land. Sometimes it was the risk of running a season with his last money. Some decisions were wrong, but often those risks led him to great success. That's why when his heart tells him, this place is different, he can't ignore it. Experience has taught him that sometimes the most important clues lie not in statistics but in feeling. Standing beside this trommel, it becomes clear to him that if everything here was in vain, the machine wouldn't have been abandoned like this. Parker knows that in the mining world, no one abandons a working profit. Either the situation becomes extremely dangerous or the gold turns out to be much more than expected. This thought leads him to the next question. If there really was a lot of gold here, how much could it be worth? And this is where the massive number that shocked everyone emerges. The figure of nearly $400 million wasn't just thrown out of thin air. There's a clear calculation behind it. Old records show that the gold content in the soil layers in this area was many times higher than normal. The size and structure of this trommel indicate that it was designed to sift large quantities of material. If the machine was running for hours a day and suddenly stopped midday, the gold left inside and around it could be enormous. This very basis strengthens this assumption. Furthermore, the trommel's filtration capabilities and the layers deposited within it bring this number closer to reality. Experienced miners know that if more than the prescribed amount of material is fed into the machine in a single day, some of it gets trapped. If this continues for days or weeks, the remaining gold could reach millions. When combined with old maps and soil reports, the picture becomes clear. This no longer seems like a dream, but a buried truth. For Parker, this isn't just a huge sum of money. It could become one of the biggest decisions of his life. $400 million means a history-changing discovery, but also an equally huge risk. If the prediction is wrong, everything will be at stake. But if it's right, this discovery will be remembered for years to come. That's why Parker neither rushes nor backs down. At this juncture, his understanding and experience are working together. While my heart tells me there's something special here, my mind questions every step. But it's clear that this place isn't something to be ignored. If this statistic turns out to be true, it could change not just Parker's story, but the entire gold rush story. And that thought makes this journey both more exciting and dangerous. At this juncture, the biggest question arises. What if the gold was left behind? What if the Trommel was shut down during its final operation and the precious cargo inside was never unearthed? This thought keeps swirling in Parker's mind. If this is true, it means that gold worth millions is buried not above ground, but within the machine itself. This rarely happens in mining, but when it does, it changes the entire story. In the best-case scenario, the picture is astonishing. It's possible that the mud removed during the Trommel's final cycle was never washed away. The material remained stuck inside the drum, trapping the heavy gold along with it. If this were the case, it would mean that a treasure trove has been lying undisturbed for years. Parker knows that in some cases the last batch is the most valuable because work is only accelerated after receiving a positive signal. This is what makes this place even more special. But the worst-case scenario can't be ignored. It's possible that most of the gold was extracted before the machine shut down and what remains is far less than expected. It's also possible that the layers of deposits inside the machine are simply heavy mud containing very little actual gold. Parker understands that every big dream carries with it great risk. If the predictions are wrong, the discovery could shatter expectations. That's why he weighs every possibility carefully. Another crucial question is whether this gold was ever completely washed out. If mining suddenly stops, the last cycle remains incomplete. In that case, the material inside the machine remains trapped, half-finished. If this is the case here, there could still be gold-laden mud inside the trauma. Experienced miners know that in such situations, it's the heavier particles, not the smaller ones, that get trapped first. This thought motivates Parker to move forward. But the moment he contemplates moving forward, the dangers become equally clear. Restarting an old machine is no easy task. The Trommel's components may have weakened after years of operation. The belt could break, the drum could burst, or the entire structure could collapse. This is not just a financial risk, but also a life-threatening one. A small technical error could lead to a major disaster. Furthermore, the fear of loss lingers at every step. If the machine breaks down immediately upon starting, repairs could cost millions. And if all the cargo trapped inside is damaged during the process, the opportunity could be lost forever. Parker knows that second chances in mining are rare. Therefore, it's essential to carefully examine every bolt, every joint, and every sound. This is why this decision becomes the heaviest. On one hand, there are hopes of millions, and on the other, the fear of losing everything. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and the entire dream could be shattered. But Parker also knows that history is not made without risk. This tension, this dilemma makes the story the most dangerous and exciting. As soon as the Trommel and the surrounding signals become apparent, the entire team's atmosphere changes where laughter and jokes normally abound. A strange silence now descends. Everyone's gaze is fixed on the machine. Some are filled with excitement while others' faces clearly show fear. No one is speaking loudly. Only soft whispers are heard. Everyone understands that they are standing in an ordinary place. The faces of those who have been working in mining for years speak volumes. Experienced workers understand the gravity of the situation without speaking. Some look at the ground, others try to peek inside the machine. Usually on such occasions, someone or the other cracks a light joke. But here, no one is doing so. The reason is clear. Everyone feels that a wrong word or a wrong move could ruin the significance of this moment. This is a moment where instead of a joke, fear and hope stand together. A split in opinion is evident within the team. Some believe that if there really is so much gold here, this could be the greatest opportunity of their lives. Others are intimidated by the condition of the machine and the dangers it poses. They know that tinkering with the old Trommel isn't easy. On one hand, there's excitement. On the other, responsibility. This conflict makes the atmosphere heavy. Everyone is looking to Parker as he must make the final decision. Now, all the pressure falls on Parker's shoulders. He faces two options. Either move forward or stop. Moving forward means taking risks, investing money, and risking his reputation. Stopping means losing perhaps the greatest opportunity in history. Parker knows that such a decision doesn't come every day. Time is limited as the weather can change and conditions can deteriorate at any time. The financial pressure is also significant. It could cost a significant amount to start the machine, inspect it, and make security arrangements. If the results don't turn out as expected, the losses will be enormous. His reputation is also at stake. People have known him for years as a courageous and intelligent miner. One wrong decision could cast doubt on his reputation. This thought forces him to reconsider every aspect. On the other hand, it's also true that if he backs down, the question will always linger. What if I had continued? In the mining world, there are opportunities that never come again. Parker knows this well. The silent gaze of the team, the state of the machinery, and the potential treasure hidden within all combine to pressure him to make a decision. At this moment, there are no easy answers, no clear path. There is only one person whose decision hinges on everything. Moving forward requires courage. But stopping is equally difficult. This is the moment where excitement and fear meet. And this is where the most crucial chapter of the story is about to begin. If this Trommel is operated again and yields what is expected, the entire gold rush record could be broken. The show has seen numerous major discoveries earning millions and even crores. But this one is on a different level. While previously earning an entire season was considered a major success, a single location could yield an amount equivalent to several seasons' worth. This is why this discovery is considered unusual. Looking back on past records, most major breakthroughs have come slowly, requiring months of hard work, numerous machines, and large teams. But the situation is different in this Trommel's case. There are indications that the gold is already there, just waiting to be unearthed. If this prediction proves correct, it could be considered one of the fastest and largest discoveries in gold rush history. This comparison makes it even more special. History could also change because this discovery will revolutionize the thinking about mining. Until now, it's been believed that not much remains in old abandoned sites. But if this Trommel uncovers gold worth cores, people will revisit places that were once abandoned as worthless. It will prove that sometimes the greatest treasures lie hidden where everyone has given up looking. But as this story unfolds, another question slowly arises. Was this Trommel truly abandoned, or was it deliberately abandoned? This isn't a direct accusation, just a thought that comes to mind after observing the situation. Running machinery, frozen layers, and unfinished work. All this doesn't seem normal. It's natural to question whether someone decided to abandon it for some reason. It's possible that circumstances at the time made further work impossible. Perhaps there was a lack of resources or the technology wasn't up to the mark to handle such a large amount of gold. It's also possible that legal or external pressure forced everything to be abandoned. There have been many such cases before where work was suddenly stopped and the reason was never clearly explained. Another question is whether anyone had any idea how big this discovery could be. If someone had already realized that there was a lot of gold here, they might have left the machine running to buy time. Or it could also be that the risk had increased so much that saving lives became more important. Clear answers to these questions may never be found, but they certainly add mystery to the story. This mystery deepens this discovery. It becomes more than just a story of gold, but a story of decisions, circumstances, and hidden reasons. If this trauma starts working, not only will records be broken, but answers to old questions could also be revealed. And if it doesn't, the question of what really happened here that day will always echo in silence. Now comes the most dangerous moment, the decision to give the Trommel a test run. This is the step where there's no turning back. As the machine is prepared to be turned on, the entire area falls silent. No one speaks, everyone's eyes fixed on one spot. The few seconds before the button is pressed feel as if time has stopped. Parker knows this isn't just starting the machine, but awakening destiny. As the Trommel begins to move, the first sound shatters the silence. The old groan of the iron, the slight vibration, and the slow rotation of the drum shake everyone to their core. The ground beneath the machine feels like it's shaking. Some people unconsciously hold their breath, as if breathing too hard will cause something to go wrong. Everyone has the same fear that this old machine might fail. The vibrations increase, the sound gets a little faster, and everyone's heartbeats begin to pace at the same pace. No one speaks, just stares at each other. Even experienced miners feel like novices in this moment. They know that if a part breaks, not only will the machine collapse, but everything trapped inside could be lost forever. That's why every second feels so heavy. Then suddenly something happens that silences everyone. The initial signals emanating from within the machine tell a different story. There's no complete disclosure, but the glimpses we get seem unremarkable. The color of the soil, the flow pattern in a few glowing particles, that's enough to shake everyone. No one says anything out loud, but every face says the same thing. This is something big. Parker's eyes remain fixed on the flow. He doesn't speak for a few seconds as if trying to believe it himself. Some of the team members look at each other, some nod, and some simply stand still. It's clear that what they've seen is anything but ordinary, but it's too early to draw any conclusions. This uncertainty makes the moment even more overwhelming. The full truth isn't revealed here, only a hint. A hint that fuels hope and fear. No one knows what will unfold, but one thing is certain. This moment will be unforgettable. The Trommel has only revealed a glimpse. The full truth remains hidden within. And this is what shakes everyone to their core. This is where the story takes its most dangerous turn. The question remains the same. What's really inside? The answer remains elusive. Only the pulse quickens. What's inside this Trommel? It might not just be gold. It could be Parker's future. And remember, those who don't subscribe now will miss the moment when the biggest truth of the gold rush will be revealed.